magnificent humans of the interwebs. Welcome to eSpot Live. I am Ellie. This is Rodney. Rodney is saying a special hello to Pandamental, who subscribed now on a 2-month streak. Thank you for that. Today is an excellent day. What a good way to start my day. Start up the stream. There's a subscription. There's a lit chat. This is awesome. Thank you for that. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday. Man, one of these days I'll know, like, at least I think yeah, anyways. We're just not gonna go down that hole. Oh, we've got Snorlax in the chat as well. Welcome, welcome. This is so exciting. Yeah, so today's disclaimers are just the usual. So knock on wood, everything will go okay. I'm trying to find something that wouldn't. As always, let me know if there's any sort of, kind of wonky thing that happens with the sound or anything like that. I think in the middle of last stream, something kind of went a little weird, but I figured out what I did. So, we've got Wolf in the chat. It's been a minute. Welcome. Good to see you here. That's so exciting. Yes, I told you guys it was going to be a good day. Everybody coming and saying hi. Anyways, yeah, there was something a little wonky last time, but I figured out what button I accidentally pressed, so it should not happen again. So yeah, as always, just keep me updated with how it looks on your end, and I'll do what I can to adjust it as I need to. But other than that, I don't have anything that's looking like it's supposed to go wrong today, so we shall see. Yeah. I just want to jump in, I guess. Wolf's saying I've been busy. Well, thank you so much for making time to come see me today. It's good to have you back in the chat. I feel like there's a few people who have been like kind of present in the chat for a while, and then when they disappear just because of everything that's going on in the world right now, it's actually a little nerve-wracking. So yeah, I'm glad to see that you're well. And busy, hopefully it's a good busy, because busy can be good. Busy can be bad, but busy can be really good. So hopefully it's been good, productive, healthy busy for you. Yeah. That's what I got. Oh, not really. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a bummer. I'm sorry. Anyways, are you on both YouTube and Twitch? That's awesome. Or not, yeah. I said those words right. YouTube and Twitch. But good news, I'm seeing both comments. So that's how it should be. Yay! Alright, for anyone who might possibly be hanging out who's new, eSpot Live is a show where I come on and bramble and babble about entertainment news related things, but I also love to get distracted by the chat. So, always like to have these conversations, and yeah, on that note, I think I'm gonna jump into the first news topic of the day. So the first thing I have to chat about is a little bit of kind of scary drama going on in the CD Projekt Red realm. I feel like there's been a lot going on with games being released and people being dramatic and things happening, but unfortunately CD Projekt Red was very recently the victim of a cyber attack. Their system was hacked into. The hackers claimed to have stolen a bunch of internal documents as well as the source code for Cyberpunk 2077, The Witcher 3, and more. They announced, or CD Projekt Red talked about the attack on Twitter, and were honest about the fact that their internal systems have been compromised, that the hackers left a ransom note. So they released the ransom note alongside of the announcement. And so the hackers have essentially claimed full copies of the source code for Cyberpunk 2077, Witcher 3, Gwent, and an unreleased version of Witcher 3, which is presumably the next gen version that was set to be released later this year. The hackers also claimed to have access to all, whatever that means, of the company's documents related to accounting, administration, legal, HR, investor relations, and more. So they got a lot of information. And then they made threats, and CD Projekt Red made it very clear that they're not going to engage with the hackers, that they went to the proper authorities, they kind of like announced everything, they released information to the public. They did want to make it clear that as far as they can tell, no customer information or user information has been released or compromised. So the people who are playing their games, the people who are purchasing things like that, that's not the information that was released. It's more on the business end of the spectrum. And the hackers were kind of just taunting in a lot of ways in their ransom note, talking about like that, you know, if CD Projekt Red did not give them what they were demanding, which was a massive lump sum of money, as always, up front, then, you know, they'd release all this information and it would cause investors to lose faith in them and they'd tank even further. So yeah, for just kind of users' peace of mind, know that personal data from individual users was not compromised, but unfortunately it looks like a lot was compromised. This ransomware attack is actually very similar to kind of what happened to Capcom, which I covered months ago, where hackers stole huge amounts of data, eventually leaking information on multiple games and leaving former employees fearing for the safety of their personal data, because like I said, it's the internal information that was taken, so the employees and things like that, they're the ones who have been compromised, not the customers. Though Capcom had said recently that their former attack didn't really have a significant impact on the games it planned to release, so they were able to overcome the situation. Here's to hoping that CD Projekt Red will be able to as well. However, it's worth noting that as of today, more information was released where that the stolen files from CD Projekt Red were sold on, and auctioned off, rather, on the black market, or the dark web black market, however that works. The black market of the interwebs. So there was an auction held, and information shows that it was completed and sold, as of February 10th, so that would have been yesterday. There's a dark web monitoring organization called KELA, which previously provided The Verge with what it believes to be legitimate file lists from CD Projekt Red's engine. So they did confirm that the files were legitimately stolen, and they also confirmed that the files were legitimately auctioned off. So we don't actually know what's going to happen with them. We don't know who the purchaser was or is, or what they intend to do with the information. It looks like what was stolen was indeed the source code from the games they claimed. So they provided the source code for Gwent up front to prove that they had the stolen material. And they actually required auctioners or the bidders to put like a down payment in to get into the auction to kind of like set up a legitimate thing. Bids started at $1 million, were increasing at $500,000 increments, and the final sale was for approximately $7 million. And here's the thing that I find the height of all irony. The sale was completed, which, like, again, this is including source code for Cyberpunk 2077, multiple versions of The Witcher, and Gwent, sold in a single package. There are screenshots from different, like, communicators. Right now, it's not confirmed yet, but it looks like the original thieves are an organization known as, let me make sure I get this right, Hello Kitty. Okay, I thought so, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't crossing my things there. So they're known as Hello Kitty, not related to Hello Kitty, obviously. They're kind of a known hacking group. So the interesting thing with this, which is actually kind of sad, is this doesn't have anything to do with people being upset over the recent game release, over Cyberpunk 2077. This doesn't have anything to do with people, you know, trying to get back what they feel like they're owed or anything like this. This is legitimately just a group of hackers who go in and target companies and blackmail them. And that to me is just like, it's so frustrating that, and also like it's so difficult to track and things like that. So the fact that we kind of know, or authorities know vaguely who these people are, but not kind of what they do. All right, I see that Wolf Graphics in the chat redeemed cutesy time, but I don't know what that means, and I don't want to let you down. So somebody let me know what that means, so I can, I don't know, put into effect whatever I'm supposed to be doing. Also worth mentioning, Wolf's last comment said, it's just stupid to buy that, like, the game and such, because then you can never release it. That's true, too. Like, I don't understand what people think that they're getting out of this, because you steal this information and then you sell it on the black market. You can't use it. It's not like whoever bought this information is going to be able to release Witcher 3. Like, that's not... It's now useless, and it is going to delay release times, most likely, because if anything significant from the games was leaked, then, they're going to have to go back and, like, directly to the source code and change the game. So... It just, it does not do anything, except somebody got rich off of it, apparently. But yeah, it's such an interesting, a very sad way, just like perspective. Like, I don't understand why people do things like this, to be honest. I feel like of all of the, if you're a hacker who has this kind of capability to get into a system and release things, not that I'm saying this should ever happen, because theft is theft, but why would you target something like a video game company? Like, why would you target a company like CD Projekt Red? Not saying that there's no money there, because obviously there's some, but like, this is the equivalent of I feel like robbing a corner store instead of like, I don't get it. Like I said, I'm not saying that anyone should rob a bank or should rob larger things. I'm not, theft is theft and it's wrong, and I want to make that absolutely clear just in case. But like, I don't get it. I feel like if you had that kind of hacking capability, there are far bigger fish to go after than, like, the gaming community. Like, what did these people do to you? Just catching up on the chat real quick. We've got Panamental saying, these attackers are causing more trouble than it's worth, and it sucks. And that's a good point, too. Like, this is impacting customers really more than anyone else. Like I said, it's a pain in the derriere for the companies, for sure. Like, this sucks. It's a setback for CD Projekt Red. But the setback is impacting the people looking forward to the next game that can no longer be released because it was stolen. Like, yeah, it's very frustrating. Also, Wolf subscribed at tier 1 for the 3rd month now. Yes! Thank you, Wolf! That's amazing. And then Wolf's also saying, with skills like that, you could work anywhere, or hell, even have your own company. That's another thing, too. Like, with this kind of skill required to hack into a company like this, not only could you, as I, in poor taste mentioned before, go after a better target, which, again, not recommending that or condoning that, but you could use it to make legitimate money as well. Like, there are so many things that you could do with a skill set like that, that don't involve screwing over everyday people who just want to play games. So yeah, there's that. And then G-Man's like, oh, the Cyberpunk Witcher code thing. Yes. So that's what I'm covering. Cyberpunk, it was, or CD Projekt Red, rather, was, hacked. The hackers stole the source code for Cyberpunk 2077, multiple versions of The Witcher 3, as well as Gwent, and sold them on the dark web for $7 million. Woohoo! Yay. So that's what I'm babbling about. But, yeah, it's very frustrating that people are using these, essentially, online superpowers for just something so seemingly petty that, like I said, you don't even really get much out of it. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why people would do this. It does make me very interested in cybercrime, though. But that's an Ellie rabbit hole that we don't need to go down. I don't need to go back to school. It costs money, guys. Don't let me do something like that. Anyways, yeah, I'm just scanning right now to see if there's anything that I missed. As far as the KELA can tell that they kind of, it seems to confirm what CD Projekt Red said originally about customer information, that was not what was compromised. So again, that's not something that we need to worry about as customers necessarily. It's just a bummer all the way around. So yeah. Unconfirmed, but multiple cybersecurity experts have pointed to Hello Kitty based on the title and contents from the ransom note. So they're analyzing the note itself. So it'll be interesting to see how this moves forward. This kind of story is just frustrating and depressing, but also fascinating from a learning perspective because, obviously I knew things like this existed, hacker groups that kind of wreak havoc, but I don't think I ever, like, looked at it, in depth, like, how that worked or anything before. But it'll be interesting to see, frankly, how long it takes to track down Hello Kitty, because if they keep hitting, it looks like they're a group that kind of does this continually. If they keep hitting enough people, then eventually they'll get caught. That's something that I kind of learned in the education that I did already have, is that for the most part, cybercrimes, it's a bit more difficult, but pretty much any crime is solvable. The real kicker for whether or not crime is solved is typically finances, because it's expensive to gather data and to gather evidence and to utilize it well. But yeah, the information is there, so it'll be anyways, I could talk about this for a very long time. Obviously, if there's any updates, we will let you know on eSpot Live, because this is something that impacts everybody within this community. So yeah, I'll definitely keep you guys updated. There is a chance that kind of what's done is done and they'll move on from this. That's kind of what Capcom did, again, is they just they went to the proper authorities, did what they could do, and then moved on. And so I feel like CD Projekt Red will probably take a similar route, as long as, like I said, they do confirm that customer information is safe. So, yeah, we'll keep you updated. That's all I got on that particular topic. Unless y'all have thoughts in the chat, just let me know. Moving right along to something far less depressing and frustrating, or maybe still frustrating, depending on your particular tastes. But Rebecca Black has officially released a remix of Friday. Guys, it's been 10 years since Friday was released. I feel old. That's a different story. 10 years. 10 years. And on the 10th anniversary of the release date, Rebecca Black went ahead and released a remix of the viral hit Friday. The irony of this is the original song came out on February 10th of 2011, but because dates don't always correlate with days, obviously, the remix was released on a Wednesday. I might be the only one who thinks that's hilarious, but that's okay, because I think it's hilarious. The remix is very different from the original. It kind of goes off of that kind of pop rock generic vibe that the original really embraced. It features 303, Big Freedia, Dorian Electra. It's really busy and dancey. It's like, anyways, but yeah, that's a thing that happens in the entertainment industry. There is a lot of again, behind the scenes drama, I feel like, with Rebecca Black as well. That was the original song when it released and kind of became its meme. It got popular for being unpopular, if that makes sense, and it caused a lot of issues with the poor girl who released it originally. But yeah, good to see that she's doing well. Great to see that she has a sense of humor about it and re-released it. Good on her for it. It's really become kind of a bit of an icon, so that's that. That's all I really have about that particular thing. If you are interested and or morbidly curious, check out the Black Friday. Rebecca Black's Friday remix. Released on a Wednesday. Anyways. It's just moving right along. But still on the icon. G-Man Black Friday remix. Yes, I did that on purpose. I'm so clever. I didn't just fumble my words. That was 100% purposeful marketing puns and stuff. So anyway, next up to chat about, you can now, okay, hold up. How do I even transition into this? My brain is like still on Rebecca Black's Friday. No. Anyways, okay, so you can take on Birdman in Pacifico's Tony Hawk Pro Skater Challenge. That's one way to do it. Just jump right in, right? Okay, so the single most overused phrase that Tony Hawk hears is do a kickflip. So, they're now turning the tables on that and offering up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater players the chance to do kickflips, as well as grinds, grabs, other tricks, whatever you like to do, for some awesome prizes. So that's super fun. Tony Hawk has partnered with Pacifico Beer in order to create Pacifico's Tony Hawk Pro Skater Challenge. This is a live streamed event, and what's happening is it's going to air on IGN's YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch channels on Thursday, February 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's going to be next week, Thursday, February 18th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's going to be 5 p.m. if you live on the other coast. It's going to be a 30-minute live stream that features Hawk himself playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, as well as sharing some of his favorite Easter eggs, hidden in the best-selling games. In addition to this, he's going to set his high score on a 2-minute run in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which is where the fans come in. Fans will have the opportunity to beat his high score in order to win some loot, which is amazing. So following the live stream, players are going to have 2 weeks to submit their own scores for a chance at winning a lot of things, including gaming gear valued up to $5,000. So that's a lot. That's actually really exciting. If you are a fan of Pro Skater, go for it, because this sounds like a lot of fun. Again, the live stream's going to be next Thursday after eSpot Live, so that's a good way to remember it. And then you have 2 weeks to beat the score to submit for some prizes, up to $5,000 of gamer gear. Super fun stuff. There is a slight catch, however. I don't know if it will impact too many of you, but you do have to be over 21 in order to play, or 21 or older, rather. Which sounds like a bummer, but if you think about it, it's an alcohol company running the competition. So yes, you do have to be 21 or older in order to submit for the challenge. But yeah, so during this 2-week submission period, players are going to be able to share their own scores with Pacifico on social media for the chance to win the Level Up experience. This one includes Pacifico branded gear, like winner's choice of Microsoft Series X, Xbox Series X, or PlayStation 5. There's a 55-inch 4K smart TV on the line, as well as a copy of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 signed by Tony Hawk himself, and more. So it's got a lot of really cool stuff in it, guys. Also, in addition to all of that, 30 additional fans are going to be able to win a co-branded Astro AF40 headset with custom tags. So, a lot of really cool stuff involved in that. Like I said, if you are a fan of this game, nothing to lose. Go for it. It's going to be a super fun event. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's super fun. I know some other people at DVSci are also excited. So yeah, let me know as this goes on. I'll remind y'all next week, of course, but let me know what you guys think of it, and if you guys are gonna go for it, how you do. catching up on the chat real quick. Wolf's referencing... That's awesome. Yeah, Wolf's referencing with Rum is Good, water break. Because this is an alcohol-sponsored event, whenever I go on my water break, which will happen eventually, I always lecture people about drinking water instead of alcohol. I mean, and alcohol. Alcohol's fine. Do you. Drink the drinks that you like to drink, but water is important. Hydration. And then Wolf saying, talking about the prizes, that would be worth something with the signature. Yeah, it's true. See, now that I'm talking about hydration, I gotta take a drink of water. Also, I had something in my throat. Anyways, moving right along. Yes, Wolf saying you remembered. We did miss you. We definitely did miss you. Panda saying I'd go for it if I still had the game. That's a good point too. G-Man's quoting some Pirates of the Caribbean. Why is the rum always gone? Yeah. All right, moving on. I actually have another topic I'm going to cover before the actual water break. So yeah. Let's go for it. The last thing I have to chat about for this part of the segment of the show, however this works, is just a little update on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So there was a new trailer released that reaffirmed the release date and confirms Tails' heavy involvement in the movie, which is super exciting. So, brand new Sonic the Hedgehog 2 title announcement video has been released. It's confirming again that Tails is going to have a major role in the film. It's reaffirming the sequel's release date, and it also features a fun remix of a classical tune from the video game. So that's fun. I'm a nerd for soundtracks, so maybe it's more fun for me, but that's okay. So yeah, recap. Sonic the Hedgehog was a surprisingly massive hit in 2020. And because it was successful, the follow-up was kind of inevitable, and also teased at the end of the first film. And new and old fans alike have been really waiting excitedly for news, for confirmation of what's to come. And now we have it. Woohoo! So here's to hoping that the second film really expands on the success of the first, in order to deliver a positive entry into that video game adaptation space that's very hit and miss. So yeah, in case you were living under a rock, which is not judgment because I spent a decent amount of my life there, the lead up to Sonic the Hedgehog's release was filled with drama. Always, because what's not in this industry. The fandom, or the franchise rather, had already kind of lost a good deal of its once immense cultural presence, so it had already kind of been winding down. And then also video game adaptations are notorious for, again, kind of missing that mark. And in addition to that, when the first trailer was released, fans had something to say about Sonic, because the original vision of Sonic the Hedgehog in that film was disappointing, if you want to be kind of like more correct. It was terrifying. Guys, that thing was terrifying. Anyways, so what happened was the fans called them out and was like, this is not okay, this is scary, I'm not watching this. And lo and behold, what still blows my mind is the studio listened like crazy. They scaled back the entire thing. They pushed back the release date. They revamped and reanimated the entire film, and it worked out in their favor because, again, it released to be a massive hit. I remember seeing the posts on the interwebs where everybody was like, hey, they listened to us, we better show up. And guess what? The fandom did. The fandom really showed up for the release, and they really enjoyed what they were given. So good on them for making it a good film. Like I said, major CGI redesign, overhaul. They just redid the entire thing. So now we just have to wait and see if this Sonic sequel is going to make lightning strike twice. See if we can kind of like keep the momentum going. So yeah, we'll have to see. But this new title announcement teaser from Paramount Pictures has given fans their first official glimpse at what's to come. It confirms the title to be Yellow 2 with 2 furry tails sprouting out of it, which confirms that Miles Tails Prower, the mechanically minded twin-tailed flying fox, will indeed... Well, actually, first off, it's important to note, too, that the music that I referenced playing in the background of the video is a remix of the Emerald Hill Zone theme from the video game, that's actually the first level of the video game Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So, this is, like, suggesting that this second movie is going to, you know, take inspiration from the second game in multiple ways. We don't quite know what the theme of it's going to be or how it's going to look overall, but it'll be very interesting to see if they decide to take the franchise in the direction of kind of matching the video game more so than that kind of real world setting that they put the first film in. I'm curious to see how they're going to blend that, because they are really making a lot more references to the game than they did in the first film. And so it'll be interesting to see if they kind of just pull it in that direction of bringing them into Emerald Hill, of like bringing them into that game world, or if they somehow find a way to really, really mesh up those two worlds, the video game world and the real world. So remains to be seen. I'm excited to see what they have in mind. Any studio that listens to its fans to the extent of overhauling an entire design has my respect. And so I'm actually like really, really looking forward to what they have in mind. And I also know that if they kind of give teasers, or as they give teasers, if the fans don't like where it's going, they're gonna respect that and actually come out with a good product. So yay! Super fun stuff. It'll be fascinating to see. There's also now questions of whether or not Knuckles the Echidna will be in the film. It's been rumored and kind of teased, not officially, but like in external... I've said this before, I'll say it again. The entertainment industry is full of just gossip. So, there are rumors that Knuckles will be in the film, and there's also rumors that Jason Momoa might be tapped to play Knuckles. However... important to note that Knuckles doesn't actually appear until the third Sonic the Hedgehog game. So, if they are really sticking to that kind of second game theme, then he might not make an appearance. But they could do what they did with the first film, which is shove him in at the end to tease the next movie. All that to say, we don't actually know. What we do know is that it has a confirmed theatrical release date of April 8th, 2022. So, next year. Which hopefully will give us some time to recover from the global pandemic, so people can go to theaters. That'd be cool. But we'll see. So yeah, we know for sure it's called Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We know for sure that they're teasing the theme, musically at least, of the Emerald Hills. We know for sure that it's going to have Tails, and he's going to be a major part of the film. And we know for sure it's coming April 4th, 2022. The rest is just conjecture, but it's fun to talk about. What do you guys want to see in the new film? Are you fans of Sonic the Hedgehog? If you are or are not, were you a fan of the film when it came out, if you went and saw it? And what would you like to see in the sequel? Let me know in the chat. And while I'm asking that, I'm going to catch up on the chat. Panda saying, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was the first game I ever played. The series holds a special place in my heart. I love the first movie. Can't wait for the sequel. That's really, really cool. So exciting. Wolf saying, come on now, Tails would beat Knuckles hands down. That's awesome. But also saying they could have done better than Jim Carrey for Robotnik. That's fascinating, actually, because I heard from a lot of people that they really liked his performance. Interesting. I am trying to remember. So I don't have much experience with video games, as many of you know, but I am learning. However, I actually played Sonic and Knuckles once, a very, very long time ago, during what was not the best stuff happening around me. But, just a very, very specific memory of playing Sonic and Knuckles at a friend's house when I was 10 years old. But typically, whenever I went over there, I was never allowed to play. So there was extenuating circumstances, which is the only reason I was allowed to actually get my hands on the controller. But I do have, like, it was a good memory in the midst of very not good circumstances. So I think it's really, really cool. Actually, like, let me use this to kind of launch into this a little bit. I think it's so cool how story does that in many different aspects, whether you're talking about film, whether you're talking TV, whether you're talking video games. Story has that ability to create this happy place, even in the midst of what is very much not a happy surrounding. So yeah, I don't know much about the story aside from kind of what I've learned from this and for this. So I'm not as familiar with, like, who Robotnik should be played by or what would be a good representation or any of that. But I do have a vague memory of these characters that was like a bright spot in a dark time, and I think that's so cool that video games can do that, right? Even for somebody who doesn't really know anything about playing video games. So yeah, that's what I got on that. And then Wolf saying, I thought that was not one of his better roles. For one, Robotnik was short and round. Okay, that's interesting. And that's fair. I feel like there's that kind of, like, they decided to definitely take it in a different visual direction than what a lot of people would be used to. So that's fair. I'm not a very visual person, so visual differences in characters don't typically cross my mind at all. Yay, aphantasia. But it's definitely a valid thought process, especially if it's a character that you liked, or the villain liked to hate. Yeah, interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And on that note, it is actually time for the water break. So, yeah. For everyone who likes to jump in and share their favorite beverages, you're welcome to do so. Rum is good, Wolf. I love it. It's great. It's awesome. Coca-Cola for G-Man. He likes to jump in and say that. And I haven't seen Jedi Roxy in a minute, but Jackie Milk. All of these are lovely and good options. However, hydration is important and your kidneys need water. So right now is the time for a water break. And on that note, I will see you all in just a minute. Hopefully y'all got some water. Well, I did, because I definitely chugged actually a little bit too much water in one go. But it's fine. Just catching up the chat real quick. So, Snorlax drinks green tea boba. It's the best. Drink and snack combo. Okay, I can't begrudge you for that. I will still stay on my soapbox of saying you need water, because I just will never not. I don't know why. I genuinely have no clue why. That's like the hill that I choose to die on. But water. But no, that's good. I haven't had boba tea in quite a while. I don't know if I've ever tried boba tea, green boba tea. Green tea boba. Green tea with boba. However you word that in English or other languages. But I have not had it in a while. So thanks for reminding me of that. I gotta try me some boba. Anyways. And also, Pandamental is mentioning Respawn. You can actually use a link down below in order to get some Respawn, so go for it. But also drink water. Snorlax is saying, I drink a gallon of water per day. Yes! Thank you. Perfect. Then go on with your green tea boba. Drink your drinks and your snacks mixed together and enjoy your life because you're drinking enough water and that's amazing. Yay! See, I can give approval as well as judgment. So yeah, that's what I got about that. Be kind to your kidneys. Drink some water. And on that note, jumping right back into some newsy stuffs because I am supposed to talk about entertainment news. I'm going to chat a little bit about some DC Comics. I love the bits that I get to, I love what I get to learn for this, guys. Anyways, I'm a nerd. What can I say? But, I don't always know a lot about the comics that feed the beloved TV shows and films that I love to watch. So I always love kind of like catching up on stuff like that to share it with you guys. So what I got for any comic book fans that I might have watching, DC has revealed a first look at a brand new Batman villain called Miracle Molly. So, readers of DC's Batman strip, comic, it's not a strip. Comic strips are like what you find in newspapers. Anyways, comics. I dug myself into a hole there, and there's no getting out, so I'm just gonna embrace the awkward. Readers of DC's Batman have been treated to quite a lot of surprises recently, specifically over the past year, with writer James Tynion IV and artist George Jimenez having expanded the world of Gotham with some really cool storylines like their Dark Designs and Joker War. Some really iconic stuff going on. They're really like adding so much to this universe. That's super exciting. One of the things that people have been talking about a lot with the new Batman run is the introduction of brand new characters. We've seen the introduction of Punchline, Clown Hunter, Ghostmaker, and others, and it looks like the duo is about to add yet another. So on Wednesday, DC unveiled the first details surrounding the Batman number 108. This is expected to serve as the debut of a brand new villain called Miracle Molly, who seems to be very aesthetically inspired by like a cyberpunk and e-girl culture. Very, very interesting. So in the events of Batman 108, while going undercover to learn more about the sudden appearance of the transhumanist Insanity Collective, Batman meets Miracle Molly, who is the collective's second in command, and a full-blown engineering genius. By the way, can I just shout out to women engineers being represented in pop culture? Yes. Anyways, moving on. Even if she's a villain, it's fine. Moving on. So yeah, she can repair any kind of tech. Like I said, engineering genius. But her appearance and the plans of the Insanity Collective are only really one of the mysteries that the Dark Knight's going to need to solve before he's done. This is including Scarecrow's plans for Gotham City that he's got to figure out, as well as Simon Saint's plans for the A-Day survivor Sean Mahoney and how they connect to Mayor Christopher Nakano and the Magistrate. So there's like so many things going on at once. Again, side thought, I think that's something really, really cool about comics as a medium, as opposed to things like the DC television universe, Arrowverse, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, there's limits, I feel like, on the film mediums of how many storylines you can run simultaneously. Some of my favorite, for example, like, Arrow episodes are the ones that really combine the storylines. I love the crossovers. Massive nerd for the crossovers. And so I feel like there's so much more potential for things like that in the comics. And it's similar to when you see, like, a book and a movie pairing telling the same story. I feel like there's, like, this competition where people are like, books are better, movies are better. I like both because they have completely different again, I just think it's super cool about comics in learning more and more about them is just how many stories they can kind of run at the same time and overlap. I think it's so brilliant. And the minds behind it, man, so much respect for comic book writers. I feel like they just don't get enough kudos, so kudos to them, because I wouldn't be able to keep up with this. I think it's awesome. Anyways, back to what I'm actually supposed to be talking about. That was Ellie's little excerpt there. So this issue being released, this is Batman 108, is also going to feature a backup story from Tinian and artist Ricardo Lopez Ortiz, which brings part 2 of Legend of the Ghostmaker. So that's super fun. It's a 40-page issue, and it's expected to retail for $4.99, and it's going to feature a main cover from Jimenez and a Miracle Molly variant cover from Stanley Art Gem Lau. There's also going to be a 125 variant cardstock cover, courtesy of Ricardo Federici, maybe? I'm terrible with names, and I apologize. This one's going to retail for $5.99. The issue is going to be available in stores beginning May 4th, which is a holiday for nerds. If you don't know that, now you do. So super exciting stuff for fans of the DC Comics. Anyways, I pressed the wrong button, and I'm trying to get my notes back up. So that's how my day's going. Alright, so next up to chat about, completely different topic, and I suck at transitions. For fans of Scooby-Doo. Oh, hey, J-Man's had the May 4th reference, by the way. May the 4th be with you. I really want to do the Vulcan salute just to mess with the Star Wars nerds. May the 4th be with you. Anyways, I couldn't help it. I tried to resist it. Yeah, so let's move on to Scooby-Doo. Another thing, okay. Can I just say, this is related, I promise. There is the competition between, like, characters, or, again, book versus movie, or TV versus whatever. Like, I don't get the this or that mentality. I'm kind of more of an all or nothing type person, or, like, why not both? So, apparently, there's been, like, within the Scooby-Doo fandom, there's, like, a this versus that of, wow, I lost my place entirely, which is fine. Where'd my notes go? Guys, this is hilarious. There we go. Wow, okay. This versus that, that's where I was at. There's like a competition between Velma and Daphne. I didn't know that was a competition. They're very different characters. Like, entirely different personalities, different everything else. But there's straight up been this, like, fandom, this versus that, of, like, Team Daphne versus Team Velma. Well, it looks like there is a step in the Team Velma's direction of winning some sort of, like, unknown competition, because Velma is set to get her own TV show. It's a very complicated setup that I just failed at, but it's okay, because awkwardness is fun. So yeah, all that to say, HBO has officially greenlit, Velma, which is an adult animated comedy series. That alone, as information, is, like, hilarious. Also, G-Man in the chat, I see you, saying now would be the perfect time to redeem Lose the Glasses. You know, at this point in time, go ahead. Then I'd have an excuse for the awkward. And there was also, like I said, there was a redemption early on that Wolf Graphics did that I still don't know what it was meant, what it was meant for. So, if anybody wants to tell me what the cutesy thing was supposed to do, I'll do it. Anyways. So yeah. Velma, it's going to be an adult animated comedy series. It's going to explore her origins, which is really fun. Mindy Kaling has been tapped to voice the titular character. And, yeah, the series is going to follow Velma Dinkley from her meddling childhood to crime-busting fame. So it's going to follow her whole life, which is going to be really fun. As she and the gang unmask and, solve their mysteries, unmasking land swindlers, insurance fraudsters, and the like. This was released in an official news release from HBO on Wednesday that touted Velma as the unsung and underappreciated brains of the Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. gang. So, from 1969 to 1976, Velma was a pivotal member of a freelance investigative force comprising cannabis enthusiast Norville Shaggy Rogers, which, by the way, Shaggy has a name. Shaggy. Anyways, moving right along. It's also got, as you know, swingers Daphne Blake and Fred Jones, and, of course, the anthropomorphic Great Dane Scooby-Doo. Since then, Velma has appeared in several adaptations, including 2 live-action features written by James Gunn in 2002 and 2005. These adaptations had Linda Cardellini in the role. Fans are also going to recall the 2010 to 2013 Cartoon Network series, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, in which Velma was portrayed by fellow 1980s TV icon Mindy Cohn. That series is still streaming on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, go check it out if you're a fan. If you're not, then maybe you will be if you try it. Never know. Anyways, there is no word on a release date or anything for the new series Velma yet. But again, it's brought up the debate of Velma versus Daphne. Again, I didn't know they were pit against each other, but apparently they are. So, yeah. That's what I got on that. Little behind the scenes real quick. I feel like sometimes I give announcements for things that have been announced, and it'll take years to actually see this, and just so people aren't disappointed by that, if you're really looking forward to something, greenlit, a show being greenlit is the very, very, very beginning stages of something being created. So a television series, an animated series being greenlit, is essentially a studio has heard a pitch and said, yes, we will fund that. And we will run it on our channel. And that's it. That's as far as they've gotten. So, it's even a little bit surprising that they already have an actor attached to it. Oftentimes they'll have people that they want for it. Sometimes, depending on the size or scale of the project, sometimes they will have actors already linked to the project. Sometimes they won't. But yeah, greenlit is the very, very first stage, and it can take years to get something like this off the ground. Because they're going to have to jump into pre-production. They're going to have to find, it's animated, they're going to have to find the artists and everything else. They're going to have to find all the voice actors. There's a lot involved in this. But the cool thing is, now that it's been officially announced by HBO, we're going to have updates for you. So as we hear more, we'll share it with you. But yeah, it might dig a little bit before you actually see it on your screen. Fun facts with Ellie. Catching up on the chat real quick. Okay, we, redeemed the cutesy voice thing again, or the cutesy time thing again. And Wolf saying, talking a cutesy voice for a few minutes. Panda saying, I said it, but I think it got lost in the chat. Just talk with a cutesy, higher pitched voice for a few minutes for the cutesy time. That's a thing? What does that even mean? Hold on. I don't... I don't know how to be cute. I appreciate it, I guess. Talking a cutesy voice. What's a cutesy voice sound like? Obviously not mine. This is... all I can think of is doing straight up falsetto, which is not cute. But I want to do something for Wolf because he's redeeming this. But like, I think I know what you're talking about because there's that like kind of really cute high pitched like Japanese culture voice that I can't do. Yeah, this is not cute, guys. Now I'm just panicking about looking cute. Or sounding cute. That's about as high as I get is up here, but this is just a falsetto. It's not a cute voice. and I'm losing it. Dang it. Okay, I'll find something to do for that. I don't know if you can see my face turning red, but I can feel my face turning red. Wolf saying, don't take this the wrong way, but you could not be cute if you tried. That's super sweet. Thank you. Because right now I just feel hella awkward. But I'll try to receive that as a compliment. And oh, see, look, my voice went up. That's what happens. That's the closest I get to the high voice is when I feel awkward. Panda's saying we love you, Ellie. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, I'll figure something out. I'll work with my team on this to figure out what to do for the cutesy time. I'm trying to, like, I cannot for the life of me figure out, like, think of how to do the cute voice, though. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like messing with me. It's appreciated. I'm surprised my glasses have stayed on for this whole episode so far. Alright, while I try to figure out internally what I should do, I'm gonna go on to the next news topic before I just melt into a puddle of not knowing what to do and feeling awkward. Alright, so the next up is for fans of The Last of Us. HBO has also confirmed The Last of Us TV show, but that's not even the news. The news is that they've cast the role of Joel. Joel is to be played by the Mandalorian star Pedro Pascal, which is super exciting, guys. Oh my gosh. If you don't know, The Last of Us is Naughty Dog's wildly popular video game franchise. Took a major step forward to get this live-action adaptation last year. HBO announced early in the year that Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin was developing The Last of Us as a TV show. Is then announced near the end of the year, and after The Last of Us Part 2's huge launch, that it had been picked up for a series. So, like I said, it's the green light. It happened. Yay! So, kind of since that initial announcement, news of the HBO adaptation has been relatively slow, beyond some minor updates. But, you know, recently we now have signs of it making major progress. The series had to add a new director for its pilot after the original choice had to exit due to scheduling. It was just recently announced that Game of Thrones breakout star Bella Ramsey was cast as Ellie. Good name. Anyways, the news gave HBO's Last of Us show half of its leading duo, and fans only had to wait a few hours to get the other half, news on Joel. So according to Deadline, Pedro Pascal is set to star in HBO's Last of Us as Joel. Joel is the lead character in the first game and is a fatherly figure to Ellie as they travel together through the dangers of the apocalyptic setting. In case you don't know, Pascal is currently the star of The Mandalorian on Disney+. Though he does also have a history with HBO, including Narcos, Kingsman, The Golden Circle, and in The Last of Us is just kind of like continuing his straight upward trajectory in his rise in Hollywood, which is super, super cool. It's going to give him his second lead role in a major IP-driven TV show after The Mandalorian. The report does specifically note that The Last of Us should not cause too many conflicts with Pascal's The Mandalorian schedule, because in The Mandalorian, obviously, if you know anything about the story, his character keeps his mask on for the vast majority of it. That is kind of changing a little bit in Season 2. However, they do fully intend to work together. So this doesn't necessarily mean we're losing The Mandalorian, as some people, and by some people I mean me, were scared about when they first heard this news. But The Mandalorian's not necessarily going away. It shouldn't conflict with scheduling. They're planning on working it out. So yeah, that's good news for fans of The Mandalorian, as well as fans of The Last of Us, because he's an incredible actor. So yeah, it's easy to imagine him, I think, in that role of Joel. We've already seen him playing an excellent fatherly figure in The Mandalorian. And it looks like it's going to continue as he plays Joel watching over Ellie. So that's super fun. An interesting thing that I'd like to comment on is all of the news that I found on this, that I'm then sharing with you, kind of like made a point to point out that there's going to be a slight change from the games because Joel was not Latino in the games, but Pedro Pascal is Latino, so he'll be representing Latino on screen. And I find it fascinating that that has to be pointed out. Because the number of times that white people play any character, like, nobody really points that out except for, like the small demographics that were like, that character was Asian, or whatever the case may be, like, why are they, okay, whatever. Like, it's something that, like, for the history of film and TV in the Western culture, we've had a habit of just taking any character and putting a big name on it, and typically it's a white Hollywood actor. And so the fact that now we're getting this character who, I don't know if he has specific origins, but kind of like an ambiguous-esque origin, and they're like, oh, but they're like, he's being played by a Latino actor. I find it kind of interesting, kind of funny, also a little bit sad that even has to be pointed out, because Pedro Pascal is a fantastic actor, and he suits the character. And I'm super excited for this adaptation. But yeah, worth mentioning. Catching up on the chat real quick. Wolf saying, it's a great game. Ellie makes me think of Little House on the Prairie. Oh, that's fun. And then G-Man saying, is that before or after what's-her-name got fired? What? I'm not sure what you're referring to in that. So catch me up on that. I missed something in the chat, I think. Anyways, until I figure out what's going on with that, is kind of on the business end of the entertainment news spectrum. And this has to do a bit with like acquisitions and mergers and how that works behind the scenes and things like that. So I talked a little bit a while ago about a Microsoft acquisition of ZeniMax. That is still happening. That's still going. But an interesting that they're doing is Microsoft has actually created a subsidiary called Vault to merge with ZeniMax, which is going... I'm distracted by the chat, so I'm catching up on it a little bit. G-Man talking about the person getting fired. So I guess there was somebody in the Mandalorian, the actress who plays Cara Dune, was fired for her tweets. So I'm still missing something and I don't know what. Gina Carano was fired for going off on Twitter. And I'm just missing the link to The Last of Us, I think, in my brain. Is this... No? We've actually seen quite a bit of that over the past couple years, but I feel like more so in a step up in accountability for what is said off screen. Actors, we've seen actors who, old tweets or even new tweets being brought up with references to racism or sexism, misogyny, or whatever the case may be, being held accountable for their tweets and for their actions and things like that. Okay, I caught up. We're good. So in the chat, Panamentals kind of like filled me in saying that Gina Carano's getting fired was related to right-wing anti-mask, and so G-Man was saying, I'd mentioned The Mandalorian not being canceled, and he was wondering if that was before or after that news. Got it. Okay. That I was actually like Panda saying very, very close, the news being released. All I meant to say by that was like there's concern, I think, for myself, like hearing that lead actors taking on another role is concerning, as that being like the reason for a cancellation. But gotcha. Okay, yeah. There has not been like an official announcement of The Mandalorian being canceled. So I think I'm not doing a very good job of wording right now. That's okay. I think there was this assumption that the announcement of The Last of Us meant the cancellation of The Mandalorian, and what I was intending to say is that it's not the case. So what happens with The Mandalorian is going to be a separate entity. There's been no official announcement made on that aside from the firing of this actress. This is separate and will not conflict with it. That's what I intended to say. I don't know what came out of my mouth originally. Sorry that took me so long to catch up on. It's about holding people accountable. I think that that's a good thing. So yeah. And then Snorlax is mentioning it looks like one announcement was made to overshadow the other with how close they were. That's an interesting point too. That went over my head. So thank you guys for pointing that out. Genuinely, not sarcastically. Anyways, again, this industry, guys, so much drama in the entertainment industry. But yeah, interesting stuff there. Thank y'all for catching me up in the chat. Alrighty, unless there's more to say about that, and if there is, please, by all means, continue. I'll go on to the oh so exciting world of mergers and subsidiaries. Alright, so real quick, first, Wolf saying, I feel someone should say that is not Baby Yoda in that show. It takes place. Oh, okay. Takes place after the last movie. Yes, Grogu is not Baby Yoda, but he's Baby Yoda. Like, it's not Baby Yoda. Like, it's not actually the character of Yoda, but Yoda is so iconic that his name just took over the species for us ignorant humans. It's like, I don't know, like Q-tips. That's a brand name. It's not the actual name of the thing that is a Q-tip. I don't know the actual name of the thing that is Q-tip because it's a Q-tip, even though it's not, if it's not the company that makes it. So it's Baby Yoda! Even though it's not Baby Yoda. It doesn't matter because it's Baby Yoda. That was such a great example, guys. I'm on a roll today. Alright, I should chat about this real quick because it is the last topic I'm meant to be talking about, so I want to cover it at least a little bit. Okay, so we're talking acquisition, subsidiaries, etc. Last year, Microsoft revealed news of the ZeniMax acquisition, right? So ZeniMax is the company that helms IPs like Doom, Fallout, The Elder Scrolls, and more. So this acquisition's not yet finalized. It'll be finalized later this year. Things like this cost a lot of money, take a lot of paperwork, take a lot of time, essentially. However, new documentation has revealed a newly created subsidiary from Microsoft called Vault, which will merge with ZeniMax going forward. So it's an interesting way to go through with this acquisition. The documentation was spotted over on the European Commission's website via Eurogamer. And it shows off a plan of action that Microsoft will take when securing this acquisition. This acquisition was a sale that resulted in $7.5 billion being invested, by the way. That's a lot of zeros. Created this subsidiary in order to merge with ZeniMax instead of just acquiring, and like there's different ways to do an acquisition. You can as a parent company, you can acquire a company and just kind of liquidate it into your current assets. You can acquire a company and leave it as its own separate entity or create it into its own subsidiary. Or it looks like this is new for me. Something that you can do is create a subsidiary and merge them together. So instead of ZeniMax merging into just a vague Microsoft or merging into like another of Microsoft's subsidiaries, they've created a subsidiary to merge it together with. And so what this is doing is it's keeping ZeniMax a little bit separate. It's its own bubble still. It's its own subsidiary, but it's blending Microsoft with it. So it's not keeping it 100% separate. It's allowing Microsoft to have more of a hands-on approach with what goes on in ZeniMax, but it's creating kind of like a new thing to it. So it's not just overriding it, rewriting it, or blending it into something else that already exists. It's still going to keep its own unique, separate entity, but it's going to be very hands-on from Microsoft perspective, which is not how they do all of their acquisitions. So it's interesting to note. Let me make sure that I'm not necessarily missing anything in this. This isn't completely unheard of. It was new for me because I'm learning about business as I go. So other major companies such as EA have also employed this type of practice, which kind of paves this new way for the acquisition and all parties involved to continue onward. So just basic definitions in case it's a company that belongs to a parent company. So this instance, the parent company is Microsoft. This is subsidiary is Volt, and the acquisition is ZeniMax, which is merged Microsoft, which, you know, shows an effort to provide specific synergies with particular goals in mind. So yeah, like I said, it's a way to keep this company separate and unique and doing its own thing while making it hands-on Microsoft approach. But also Vault, which is doing this merger, is going to be distinct from Microsoft from a taxation and liability perspective, because it is technically a separate company. It's a baby company. So there you go. There's like tax advantages involved in naming a subsidiary, as well as kind of ways to consolidate and control, again, things like liability, loss practices, and even like synergy of like other corporate divisions. So they can have a completely different goal, different atmosphere, different all of that. It's an interesting thing. Though Microsoft, as the parent company, is still going to be liable for the actions of ZeniMax and Volt and things like that. So yeah, we've seen positives come from acquisitions like this. We've seen negatives coming from corporate consolidations. Though Microsoft and Bethesda have both kind of come forward with talks about the takeover. They've been very transparent about it. G-Man saying Volt or Vault. It's the second one that you wrote. Vault. V-A-U-L-T. Enunciation is difficult and English is weird, but yes, Vault. So yeah, both companies are staying very hands-on. They've been very transparent. I'm really curious to see how this acquisition goes. And like I said, I feel like a lot of times, specifically with Microsoft, but a lot of big corporations, you see the two acquisitions that I've seen most often in even learning about this are acquisitions that kind of buy out a company and just blend them in. And of the two, where this is going to be Microsoft hands-on with ZeniMax, but still keeping its own little bubble subsidiary company thing. That's what I got about that. Catching up on the chat real quick again. In reference to my comment that Grogu is a baby Yoda, Snorlax mentioned that clownfish are all Nemo, and then Wolf said, right, and don't forget Dory's. It's true. I know what Dory was as a fish, but I don't even remember like what type of fish she is. She's Dory. Anyways, there you go. That's all I have to chat about officially on today's episode of eSpot Live. So as always, I just want to thank you all for hanging out, even though I don't know how to be cutesy. And yeah. Thank you for hanging out with me and putting up with my fumblings. Embrace the awkward, guys. That's where it's at. Before I sign off, I do want to shamelessly plug our music again. but, you know, you can never plug it too much. So if you want dance EDM music to listen to while you're gaming, while you're streaming, while you're working, while you're relaxing, etc., check out Zombie in a Jar. Zombie in a Jar. Gonna go ahead and post that because zombie is spelled specially. Boom! Zombie in a Jar. There's several albums. It's what I listen to and have in the background of every single one of my eSpot lives. It is what several of our streamers use. It's excellent music. And while I'm shamelessly plugging, check out Doomsday. It's one of the songs with vocals. It's my vocals. If you want to hear my voice high-pitched, check out Doomsday because I'm singing in falsetto. That's what I got about that. Zombie in a Jar. Solid music. You can find, this is important information, you can find it on Spotify or Apple Music. So the music that you are hearing right now is been created by our very own artists at DVSI Entertainment. Like I said, all of our DVS streamers typically use them in the background of their streams as well. So yeah, there you go. On a high note. Oh, real quick, though, before I end, Snorlax said blue tang. That's right, Dory is a blue tang. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I will be back Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 3 p.m. if you live on the other coast. If you're somewhere in the middle, it's somewhere in the middle. I'm so good with time zones, guys. Yeah. Mondays or Thursdays, eSpot Live. Come see me be awkward. Have an amazing weekend. Be safe, stay happy, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and as always, above all, stay devious.